The invisible pull. Why do we feel attracted or repelled? Hi friends, I am Dr. Rekha Kale, your success mindset mentor, and welcome to another episode of The Mind Material Within Us. In the previous episode, we explored what I called our tender shadow. We looked at the relationships, people, or even activities that become a source of emotional comfort for us after we have been running through the hot sun of life struggles. We discovered that different people find their emotional shade in different places. For some, it is family. For some, a friend. For some, a partner. For some, children. For some, God. And for others, it may even be music, books, movies, nature, or solitude. And we understood that simply observing where our mind goes for comfort can tell us something about the mind material within us. Today, I want to explore another fascinating aspect of this mind material. And this time, I want to look at something that happens almost automatically. Something that happens without our consciously deciding to make it happen. It is the phenomenon of attraction and repulsion. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever met somebody for the very first time and immediately felt that you liked that person? You may not have spoken much. You may not know anything about their background. You may not know their history. You may not even know why you feel comfortable with them. And yet something inside you says, I like this person. Sometimes the feeling can be so strong that people describe it as, I feel as if I have known this person for years. Have you ever experienced that? And something similar can happen in completely different situations. You may enter a place for the first time and suddenly feel, I really like this place. You may hear a tune for the first time and immediately love it. You may open a book, read a few lines, and feel strangely connected to it. You may watch a movie scene, and something inside you responds immediately. You may even see an object, a color, a particular design, or a particular type of surroundings and feel attracted towards it. What is happening? We generally call it liking. We say, I like this person. I like this place. I like this song. I like this book. I like this atmosphere. But perhaps there's something deeper happening. Because the opposite also happens. Sometimes we meet a person for the first time and immediately feel uncomfortable. We don't know the person. The person may not have said anything wrong. They may not have done anything to us. And yet, we don't feel comfortable even looking at that person. We may want to avoid them. We may say, I don't know why, but somehow I don't like that person. The same thing can happen with places. You enter a place and immediately feel, I don't want to stay here. You hear a particular piece of music and want to switch it off. You watch a particular scene and feel disturbed. You see something and instinctively move away from it. This is the other side of the same phenomenon. Repulsion. So what creates these invisible attractions and repulsions? We are familiar with the basic principle of magnets. Certain poles attract. Certain poles repel. Of course, human beings are much more complex than magnets. I am not suggesting that human attraction and repulsion are literally caused by magnetic forces in the same way. I am using the magnetic principle as a simple metaphor to help us understand something interesting about ourselves. Because there seems to be an invisible process happening within us. Something resonates, and we move towards it. Something does not resonate, and we move away. So let us bring back our central concept. The mind material within us. What exactly is this mind material? It is the collection of experiences, memories, impressions, emotions, associations, learning and many other influences that have accumulated within us over time. And every person's combination is different. That is why two people can experience exactly the same thing and respond completely differently. Something that is extremely attractive to me may be completely uninteresting to you. Something that makes you feel peaceful may make me feel uncomfortable. Something that reminds you of a wonderful experience may remind me of something unpleasant. And neither of us may initially understand why. Let us take a simple example. Suppose you meet a person who speaks in a particular manner. You immediately feel uncomfortable. You don't know why. Perhaps their voice unconsciously reminds you of somebody from your past. Perhaps their facial expression resembles somebody you had a difficult experience with. Perhaps their manner of speaking reminds you of an old situation. You may not consciously remember any of this, but something within your mind material may recognize the similarity, and your emotional response may come before your conscious explanation. This is why sometimes we say, I just have a feeling about this person. Now, I want to be very careful here. Not every instinctive attraction means that somebody is trustworthy. And not every feeling of repulsion means that somebody is bad. Our reactions can be useful signals, but they can also be influenced by our own past experiences, assumptions, and biases. So the purpose of this episode is not to teach you to blindly trust your first impression. Quite the opposite. It is to encourage you to observe your first impression. There's a huge difference. Instead of saying, I don't like this person, therefore this person must be bad, we can say, I don't feel comfortable with this person. I wonder why. That little change is powerful. Because now we have moved from judgment to inquiry. And that is exactly what this series is about. We are not here to judge. We are here to inquire. Now let us take this inquiry away from people. In fact, I would recommend that you begin with non-living things. Start observing your surroundings. Think about the places where you naturally feel comfortable. Maybe you love a particular kind of room. Maybe you like open spaces. Maybe you prefer small, cozy spaces. Maybe you love mountains. Maybe you love the sea. Maybe you enjoy forests. Maybe you love busy city streets. Maybe you prefer quiet villages. Maybe you enjoy a room filled with people. Maybe you want to sit completely alone. Now, there's a general belief that calm and serene places are universally good. We often say, go into nature. Sit quietly. Go to a peaceful place. Spend time near the mountains. Go near the sea. And certainly, many people find these surroundings relaxing. But have you ever noticed that the exact same environment doesn't affect everyone in exactly the same way? One person may feel extremely peaceful near the sea. Another person may not enjoy the sea at all. One person may love mountains. Another may feel more comfortable in a city. One person may love silence. Another person may become restless when there is too much silence. One person may love a crowded celebration. Another person may want to escape from it. So perhaps there is something more subtle happening. Perhaps our mind material is responding to the environment. And that is what I want you to explore. Don't simply say, I like this place. Ask, what exactly do I like about this place? Is it the light? The color? The sound? The smell? The openness? The privacy? The movement? The stillness? The memories associated with it? Or is it something you cannot yet explain? Don't force yourself to find the answer. Just observe. And then do the same with places you don't like. Ask, what exactly makes me uncomfortable here? Again, there may be an obvious answer. Or there may not. And that is perfectly okay. Because the purpose is not to produce an instant psychological diagnosis. The purpose is simply to become more aware of your own responses. Now let us extend this to music. Why do you love some music and dislike other music? Of course, there are musical preferences. But sometimes a song can touch something much deeper. You may hear a tune and suddenly feel peaceful. Another tune may make you restless. Another may remind you of a particular period of your life. Another may make you feel energetic. And sometimes you may not even know why a particular song affects you so strongly. Again, resonance. Something within the music connects with something within you. Now think about books. Why does one person love fiction while another prefers biographies? Why does somebody love philosophy while somebody else prefers business books? Why does one person enjoy poetry while another prefers factual writing? Why does somebody spend hours reading spiritual literature while another person has no interest in it? Again, we are not trying to decide who is right. We are simply observing. What resonates with this person? And then we can ask, what does that resonance tell us about the mind material within that person? Now let's come back to people. This is where the inquiry becomes much more delicate. Sometimes we feel immediate attraction. Sometimes immediate repulsion. Sometimes immediate trust. Sometimes immediate distrust. Sometimes an inexplicable sense of familiarity. And sometimes an inexplicable distance. We should neither blindly trust nor blindly reject these feelings. Instead, we can pause. What exactly am I responding to? Maybe it is genuinely something in the person's behavior. Maybe it is their communication style. Maybe it is something about their attitude. Maybe it is something that reminds us of somebody from our past. Maybe it is our own expectation. Maybe it is a previous experience. Maybe it is a similarity. Maybe it is a difference. Or maybe we simply don't know yet. And that is okay. Because saying, "I don't know why I feel this way," is actually a very honest starting point for self-inquiry. We don't have to know everything immediately. We simply have to become aware. And this brings us to a very important question. Are our likes and dislikes really telling us only about the world outside us? Or are they also telling us something about the world inside us? I think that is worth exploring. Because we generally say, "I like this. I don't like that." But perhaps we should occasionally add one more question. Why? Why do I like this? Why do I dislike that? Why does this place make me comfortable? Why does that place make me uncomfortable? Why does this music attract me? Why does that sound irritate me? Why do I feel close to this person? Why do I instinctively avoid that person? And remember, we don't have to find a judgment. We are looking for understanding. So here is today's little exercise. Start with your surroundings. Look at the places around you. We simply have to become aware. And this brings us to a very important question. Are our likes and dislikes really telling us only about the world outside us? Or are they also telling us something about the world inside us? I think that is worth exploring. Because we generally say, "I like this. I don't like that." But perhaps we should occasionally add one more question. Why? Why do I like this? Why do I dislike that? Why does this place make me comfortable? Why does that place make me uncomfortable? Why does this music attract me? Why does that sound irritate me? Why do I feel close to this person? Why do I instinctively avoid that person? And remember, we don't have to find a judgment. We are looking for understanding. So here is today's little exercise. Start with your surroundings. Look at the places around you. Identify 2 or 3 places where you feel particularly comfortable. Then identify 2 or 3 places where you don't. And ask yourself, what is different? Don't look only at the physical difference. Look at your internal response. How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? What memories come up? What emotions arise? What thoughts appear? Then perhaps do the same with music. And later, when you are ready, you can explore the same question with people. This exercise can become surprisingly revealing. Because gradually, you may begin noticing patterns. You may discover that you are attracted to certain kinds of environments because they provide something your mind values. You may discover that certain things repel you because they remind you of experiences you would rather avoid. You may discover that some of your preferences are very old, and some are very recent. And perhaps you will also discover that some of your reactions change as your life changes. That itself is fascinating, because it reminds us that our mind material is not a rigid, permanent structure. It keeps interacting with our experiences, and therefore, the things that resonate with us can change. The places we love can change. The music we enjoy can change. The people we feel close to can change. Even the things we once disliked can sometimes become things we appreciate. So today's inquiry is not, "What should I like?" It is, "What do I naturally respond to, and why?" That is a very different question. And perhaps, as we continue asking such questions, we will begin discovering something very important. Our likes and dislikes are not merely preferences. Sometimes, they are little windows into our inner world. So, my invitation to you today is very simple. Look around you. Observe the places that make you comfortable. Observe the places that don't. Observe the sounds you love. Observe the sounds you avoid. Observe the objects you are naturally attracted to. Observe the experiences that draw you towards them. And slowly, when you are ready, observe your reactions towards people too. Don't judge. Don't label. Don't immediately conclude. Simply observe. Because every attraction and every repulsion may be giving you a small clue about the mind material within you. I am Dr. Rekha Kale, your success mindset mentor, inviting you to look within. Perhaps the next time you say, I don't know why, but I like this. Or, I don't know why, but I don't like this. You will stop for a moment. And instead of leaving the sentence unfinished, you will ask, what is happening within me? That one question can take you one step closer to understanding yourself. And perhaps that is what this entire journey is about. Not changing yourself immediately. Not judging yourself. Not judging anybody else. Just becoming curious about the person who is experiencing all of this. You. Keep exploring. Keep observing. Keep inquiring. And keep discovering the mind material within us. I am Dr. Rekha Kale. Thank you for being with me. And I look forward to meeting you in the next episode, where we will explore one more fascinating aspect of the mind material within us.